Hi everyone, welcome to Crafting with Peen. For this month, we are going to make string art. So you're going to need a piece of wood. It just needs to be a pretty good thickness so that your nails don't go through it. You're going to need a hammer, preferably a small one because we're working with small nails. You're going to need a few different colors of thread or thin yarn. It all depends on what your picture is. We're going to need some small 1-inch nails, could be half an inch, 2-inch. It really depends on how thick your wood is. And then last, you're going to need either a template or an outline of a picture that you're going to do. So to start, we set aside the string for now and we line up our paper on the piece of wood. So I'm doing an elephant, but you can do whatever you want. And there are some templates with the supply list. So what you're going to do is you're going to put nails on this black line all around the outside to give the outside of the elephant, and you're as well going to do it on the inside of the ear so that you're going to be able to distinguish between the two colors. You should also be doing it here on the toenail. You just want to create the outline of whatever picture, animal, shape you're using so that when you fill it in with string, you're going to be able to figure out which section is which when you look at it. You want to space them about half a centimeter apart. That way you'll be able to really fill it in, but if you're working with thicker string, you could move it wider if you'd like. Once you've hammered the outline, you want to take away your paper. So before I take away the paper, I just want to show. So in some spots, like where my eye is here or where I have curves, I put my nails closer together so that you would be able to see the curve when you put in the string, because the string is just going to stretch into a straight line. So you want to be able to identify your curves. Okay, so then I suggest taking a picture after you've put in the nails, because there's no way that you'll be able to get this paper out without it ripping. And you want to be able to see what your product should look like. And I find that it's very difficult to distinguish between what part is what when you have a lot of lines crossing over each other. So you just want to get rid of this paper, just pull it out. And then from here, if you are doing something with an outline, I suggest starting with the inside colors first, because you want to add your outline or the black over top. So you want that to be the top string. So my elephant has a heart, and then there's a cheek, and then the inside of the ear. I'm using pink for that, so I would suggest doing the inside different colored with smaller amounts of that color first, because that way it's out of the way and you don't need to try to whittle your way through all the nails when your majority color is in there. I just tie my string onto the nail just using a double knot. What I like to do is first I like to do a round all the way around the outside. So I like to loop it to the next nail, and I don't cut my string, I keep it on the spool because you never know how much you're going to need. And then I loop it back up. From there, I loop it back down, and I move to the next nail. That way I know it's secure, and don't worry if your string comes off. As long as you keep it tight, it shouldn't come off of the other nails. This is a pretty tedious part, and it can become frustrating if the string comes off, but just stay calm because it'll work out. Once you finish to the end and you've done the outline, I like to, this is my personal preference and there's tons of different techniques, I like to start at about the middle peg and I like to fan out to each side, doing the same on both sides to almost create a mirror image, but it's all the way you want. The only purpose now is you want to fill in the space. You want to be able to tell which colors are where, and so the most important thing is to just keep adding layers so that your color thickens up, so that you'll be able to tell which is the inside of the ear and which is the trunk, for example. And that is kind of the disadvantage of working with thread, is that it's quite thin, so you need to add quite a lot of layers. Once you are happy with how much you have on there and the color, you just want to wrap it around the nail a few times and you're just going to tie it off. Once you finish your first color, you're going to want to start the second color. So this is the one that's probably the majority of the color, but not the outline, because you want to do the outline first. And for this one, I like to do the exact same as this, but since most of it is this color, instead of having to put new pieces each time, so this was one piece of string, this was one piece, and this was one piece, I want to keep the white all the one piece of string and just double back to cover different areas. So I like to start by looping around the outside just so that I kind of have an idea of where I'm going. Because remember, you can always cover this up with black to create your outline after. And then you start filling it in. Now the last step is to create the outline. And for this, you just want to wrap it all the way around the outline, and this is where you really want your picture so you can see all the places you want to go. And then if you have too much string, just kind of push it down so that your black will fit on top without popping off. And that's it. Well, this is the finished product. I hope everybody has fun and that their creations turn out beautiful.